Alrighty then, we are back. It's Wednesday night, and we are ready to rock and roll. We're ready to have some fun. We're ready to learn some stuff, and there's just I can't help but believe there's a whole nother level, or another whole level, if I want to say it in proper English, for us to get to, for us to go to, for us to ascend to, for us to move up to, for us to step up to. I still feel like even as advanced as we are, we're still kind of on the porch, and we need to get out there and run like big dogs. We try to make this big dog radio, and I just don't think I just have that feeling of being plateaued, I guess. I used to be a bodybuilder, big weightlifter, and you'd get to a place where you'd be gaining, and then boom, you'd hit what we call a plateau. And it didn't matter what you did for a matter of weeks. Usually you'd be stuck at one particular level of bench pressing is usually the thing that I remember the plateau hitting me at. But at any rate, I don't want to plateau in our spiritual realm, and we're going to do our best to press right on through and begin to really branch out into some more good stuff. And we are providing the video simulcast on jeffreydarty.com, christianwhistleblower.com. That's available to you there. And you can also access the dark room chat there as well. And, of course, we're glad to be a part of the Mutual Broadcast Network. Exclusively broadcast on the Mutual Broadcast Network now is the Christian Whistleblower Show. So tonight, let's get right into the show. And let's talk about some stuff from Unindoctrinate Daily. This I laughed, but I guess it's really not all that funny. Exorcism pastor assault claim. Quote, "It was slap punch. I'm going to get this demon out of you." A nurse has described a bizarre community exorcism in Auckland, New Zealand, where a traveling pastor, otherwise known as an evangelist, that's what I was for 20 years, punched her in the face to cleanse her of demons. I got to tell you, 20 years in the evangelistic ministry, and I'm pretty certain that I never punched anybody in the face. I mean, I might have slapped somebody a little bit on the forehead, in the name of Jesus, every now and then. But no, we never punched anyone. We never kicked anyone. We never did anything like that. And it's amazing the things that these preachers think that they can get away with. And this lady, she works at Auckland City Hospital, and she said it was a close-fisted punch that was delivered to her head that she became dizzy, her face swelled up, and she suffered a 2-day headache. And this was an event targeted at the Auckland's African community. The pastor was black. I don't know if he's African. I'm not that good at judging what people look like. But according to this lady, the evangelist punched one woman after telling her a demon was preventing her from getting married, which I don't understand at all. He kicked another man in the back while he was lying on the ground, and he hit some people so hard they fell to the ground. Others did not complain to police because they believed they were being healed by the pastor. Maybe it's the old saying of, if you want to forget about your hand hurting, come here, let me stomp on your foot. I don't know, but very, very interesting. 2 other attendees contacted by the paper, which was the New Zealand Herald, hung up saying that they were not allowed to talk about the event. But you bring in a preacher from the UK down to New Zealand. What does he do? He starts hitting people. Police followed up on the case, but decided the case did not meet the evidential sufficiency threshold to warrant further investigation. Attendees told officers they were invited to take part in a cleansing ritual in which they were touched on the forehead or upper body. Apparently, some of them touched a little harder than others. But anyway, funny stuff. And from the crazy world of Pentecostal religion, there's really not anything that goes on in that realm that surprises me anymore. So there you go. And this is something I found very interesting for a lot of reasons, and we can kind of ponder this together. Yeah, this comes from the Guardian, Silicon Valley opinion, and the headline says, "Can you become virtually immortal?" A Silicon Valley startup thinks so. A company called Eternomy, like eterned I me, Eternomy, hopes digital versions of our personalities will be able to communicate through chatbots from the grave. That's right, folks. This company, Eternomy, hopes that digital versions of you and I will be able to communicate through chatbots from the grave. And they call this being virtually immortal. And the idea is to create a library of your personality traits and language traits, all of your, as many traits as they can systematize, digitize, and put into this database, I guess. And they said it's the idea is to create a library that has people instead of books. Wow, interesting stuff. So, I mean, if you want to talk to someone, you can log on, you can access them. And of course, they're hoping that they can put enough accurate information and data and enough personality data in there so that you could actually talk to someone, and it would be like talking with that person face to face. And the grieving process isn't something we understand, they say. It's something we endure, but it remains to be seen if Eternomy is actually a problem, is working on a problem that needs to be solving. All this writer says they know for sure is that they're not going to stop anytime soon. So, man, that seems like you might be going a little bit too far. I understand the idea of grieving. I can even understand, the possibility of wanting to, talk to people and feel like you're talking to people. But this doesn't sound like a great idea to me. So I'm going to say no to Eternomy. I'm going to say that's not something that I want to participate in, and that's not something I'll be investing in or partaking in. And I'm not going to allow them to digitize my personality and stick it into the computer. Not that they're asking. So we'll be very, very clear about that. But last night we talked about, as we get ready to move into the next segment of our broadcast and get into what we're talking about. Last night we talked about how our minds are completely chaotic. We talked about how we're sleeping dragons. We talked about how we waste our lives. We talk about how our world has gone dark because we've lost our light. We don't understand our potential. We talked a little bit about how our mind can be a mighty, flowing, a singular, powerful river, but instead it's not, because it's fragmented into a bunch of tributaries. We talked about making the unconscious conscious, or at least consciously manipulating, and it's our own, so it's nothing wrong with that, consciously manipulating our unconscious. And tonight, we're going to talk about a practical device to do so. And I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian Whistleblower. We'll get back into that right after this.
Well, welcome back to the show, and we're talking about a way to focus our mind tonight. And in order to reprogram your unconscious, one of the things you have to do is break through your conscious mind, the resistance of your conscious mind. You've got to get it to go quiet. And we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. But before we get to that, I was meditating today and thinking today and studying today and reading today. And we've talked a little bit about possession, and we've talked about demons at length here over the past couple of weeks. And we've talked about what the nature of what we call demons is. We've talked about the fact that there's very, very few actual demons, and that what we all deal with when we do deal with what you would call a spiritual type of oppression and what some people want to call possession, of course, we believe that that is mainly our own unbalanced energy that's projected into the universe, coming back to us like a salmon swimming back upstream. And I've always been convinced and thought that the actual possessing type of spirits, the ones that get into you, get onto you, that's kind of tomato for this discussion. We don't want to really get bogged down of, do they come into you, or are they just attached to you? Are they just on you? But when you get to that situation, I was struck today by the thought, and whenever I'm struck by something in meditation, it always makes a little bit more of an impact on me, because it is in a meditative, spiritual state. And I began to think about the fact that the returning unbalanced energy, which really is projections of our own unbalance, coming back to us, and it coming back acting like a demon, acting like it's scary, acting like it's malevolent, trying to prevent us and keep us from doing what we should do, which is rebalance it, to do what we're called to do, which is rebalance that energy so it can go back into phase with the universe. I wonder about the energy that is so good at pretending that it is an entity, that it almost comes in and seems like it's possessing us, but really it's still not a demon. It's still not a devil. It's still not really any type of a malevolent entity. It really is still just our unbalanced projections of energy. So really, we're almost possessed by ourselves in many cases. I think this explains a lot of demonic possession, because there's really very, 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 very few demons. So even people that think they're possessed by demons are probably, to a great extent, possessed by themselves. In other words, they are so self-absorbed, they are so egocentric, they are so flawed within their understanding of spirituality and energy, that they actually can become obsessed with a projection of their own energy. And think of that. What a messed up situation. We think it's a demon. We're trying to cast it out. We're trying to,
the power of Christ compels you, all that kind of stuff. And we're trying to run these things out when really it's just our own projected unbalanced energy come back to us. And this is something I'm thinking through, but it makes a lot of sense to me. And it really is rather sobering to us as we think about, hey, I'm so convinced that most of our problems are our own. We don't really deal with demons. The devil didn't make you do it. The devil doesn't make you do it. A demon's not making you do it. You're really dealing with your own stuff. You're dealing your own cards. You're dealing your own deck. So deal with it like a big boy, like a big girl. Let's quit blaming demons and let's just start taking charge and taking responsibility of our own lives. And as we think about bypassing our conscious minds, we'll talk about a technique. I'm going to share a technique with you. And this is a technique that I want to make clear to you. I've used on several occasions. And I know some of you will probably say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it sounds. Well, that's okay if you don't want to make use of it. All I can tell you is it does not violate anyone's intention. It does not hurt anyone. And it certainly doesn't do anything wrong. It is a practical and it is a proven technology, a proven spiritual technology that works. I have used it to do things, to help me do things on at least 2 occasions that many people told me were impossible, could not happen. And I've used them to do it on at least 2 occasions. So I want to share this with you. And I think you're going to find it at least interesting, even if you don't agree with me. Now, a lot of us, when we want to do something, we just really want to hope and pray about it. And of course, the first thing about wanting to do something is having something centered and focused in your mind. You can't accomplish something until you decide what it is you want to accomplish. So you have to pick out a desire. You have to pick out a goal. You have to pick out something that is, observable, something that you can do and something you can aim towards, and something that is observable and measurable. And, one that so many people want to do that we'll work with tonight. Let's just say it's, I will lose weight. They're stated as a positive. They're stated as a very definitive thing that you want to do. Say, hey, I want to lose weight. And what you do is you take that, like I've done on this piece of paper. We're really high tech tonight. I just wrote that out. I will lose weight. So you write it out on a piece of paper such as that. I will lose weight. Lay your paper aside, think about it, focus on it. I will lose weight. I will lose weight. And as you continue to focus on that and think about it, you're focusing it in your mind. You're making it somewhat of a reality in your mind. Even then, you're really focusing on it and making it something that is going to be dealt with. It's going to be handled. That really is something in your mind. What we're going to talk about tonight is making a sigil to help you focus your intention, focus your thought, and to achieve greater results than you have heretofore. That's why this little talk tonight is called Sygil Me This. What is a sigil? Well, a sigil is actually, if you want to look at it, textbook definition, it's a technique that is common to chaos magic. And I know I'm upset some of you right there. But again, we're talking about pragmatism. We're talking about being pragmatic. If it works, we will use it. If it helps us to advance our spiritual cause without causing anyone harm, without bringing danger upon ourselves or anyone else, and without overriding anyone else's intention, we will use it. So if we just decided, hey, I will lose weight, there you go, I will lose weight. You write it out on a piece of paper. I will lose weight. And then the next thing you're going to do after you say, I will lose weight, you're going to go in and you're going to cross out all of the vowels. And for those of you that are kind of challenged in the English language, vowels are A's, E's, I's, O's, and U's. So go in and cross out all the A's, the E's, the I's, the O's, and the U's. Okay. So your paper in this case would look something like this. If you can see the crossed out letters, I've crossed out all the A's, the E's, the I's. I've crossed out all the O's. I've crossed out all the U's. So you're left with other letters. You're left here with a W, two L's, an L, an S, a W, and then you're left with a G, H, T. So you've crossed out all the vowels. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and you're going to cross out all the repeating letters. So let's see, I've got one W here, and there's another W down the bottom, so I'm going to cross that out. I've already crossed out my extra I. Here's an L, so I'm going to cross out any L after that first one. Okay, so I've got these L's crossed out. Do I have more than one S? Nope. More than one G? Nope. More than one H? Nope. More than one T? Okay, good. So I've got that part done. I've eliminated all of my vowels, and I've eliminated all my repeated letters. I've eliminated all my vowels. I've eliminated all my repeated letters. So once I've got that done, it usually helps me if I just go ahead and rewrite the letters that I have left down at the bottom. So in our case, we got a W left, we got an L left, we got an S left, we got a G, we got an H, and we got a T. So, we've got something that looks like, this down here at the bottom. We've got WLSGHT left. And you're thinking, Jeff, what in the world are you doing? Jeff, where in the world are you going with this? Well, when we come back, we'll get into what we're doing. We'll get into where we're going. And this is going to be a profound lesson for you and a profound tool to put in your box. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower on the Mutual Broadcast Network, and we'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the Mutual Broadcast Network, and welcome back to the Christian Whistleblower Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Daugherty. Tonight, we're talking about Sygil Me This, trying to give you a practical, workable tool to put into your spiritual toolbox to help you focus your intention, to help you focus your energy, to help you focus your thoughts, your ideas, to help you focus your plans, and to take it beyond just focusing things on a conscious level. Remember, we're using this to reprogram your unconscious, and the sigil is used to help you break through the resistance of your conscious mind. And you've got to go quiet. The sigil is part of helping to quiet your conscious mind. And I will spare you the rant about TV, radio, headphones, and all that other stuff, but you've got to get yourself to be quiet. I mean, think about the monks we talked about yesterday. They will meditate for decades, and they get their mind under control, they get their body under control, and it's been documented that they can use permanent and affect permanent change in their brains and find a great sense of peace and enlightenment in so doing. And we also know there's quicker ways to induce altered states, and talking about that on 420. There's probably a lot of you that I'd be preaching to the choir if I talk too much about that, and that's not what I want to do. Shamans have always, throughout their history, and use things like drumming, use things like deep breathing, and a lot of other type of techniques, I guess, to snap people out of their conscious mind. And sexuality is also one of those things that can be used to help supercharge, if you will, your subconscious and even your conscious. But the idea is to get access to your unconscious, to get direct access to your unconscious, direct access to allow you to manipulate, direct access to allow you to program, direct access to allow you to direct your own subconscious. Now, we've already talked about the fact that it is unethical. It is a tremendous breach of integrity and a tremendous breach of spiritual morality to ever infringe upon anyone else's intention or to ever infringe upon anyone else's unconscious, even though you may, with a lot of training, be able to go into other people's dreams and manipulate them. You cannot do that if you want to be a person of spiritual integrity and be a leader in spirituality. But the idea here with the sigil is to gain access to your unconscious. And really, to gain access to your unconscious, you need to learn to speak the language of your unconscious. And in many ways, your unconscious is much more susceptible, understanding, receptive to symbology than is your conscious mind. It's much more susceptible to symbology and imagery than your conscious mind. That's one of the reasons why your dreams are full of a lot of symbolic images. And have you ever wondered why corporations spend so many billions of dollars creating and promoting their logos? Why do you think sports teams spend billions of dollars creating and promoting their logos? Because those symbols bypass. I mean, yeah, you might like the Dallas Cowboys. In my case, you might like the Tampa Bay Lightning, but that logo will mean something to my unconscious more than just my conscious. That lightning bolt in the circle with the Tampa Bay Lightning, the star with the Dallas Cowboys, of course, that speaks to your subconscious, probably at least as powerfully as it speaks to your conscious. And that's why corporations, and not just sports teams, but I mean, think about Coca-Cola and think about Pepsi and McDonald's. Think about all these corporations and why they so zealously and jealously protect their logos. Why? Because those symbols, those logos, are communicating what they want and messages they want communicated to you. And they know that you're receiving them not only consciously, but you're also receiving them unconsciously. So when we begin to intentionally and with planning and forethought, begin to work on programming our unconscious mind or our subconscious mind, a symbol is a great way to move and speak to your unconscious mind, because a symbol is kind of like speaking the language of your unconscious. It's more susceptible, more receptive to imagery than it is to linguistic language. And a sigil is a great example of this, and it is a symbol that's going to be able to help you speak directly to your unconscious. And of course, we've decided what we want to do. In this instance, we've decided I will lose weight. And so we wrote down I will lose weight, right? And then we took out the vowels. And then after we took out the vowels, we took out the repeating letters. And what we were left with was something like this: WLSGHT. And that's about the normal length. This is a kind of an odd looking one. I've done a lot of these, and I never really had one that kind of looks like this. So it's a little bit different, but it'll work. And what you're going to do is, after you've taken out the vowels, after you've taken out the repeating letters, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to have those letters. And this is where it takes a little bit of thought, and you don't have to really worry too much about artistic ability. And you want to give more thought to it than I'm about to give to it. But what you can do is you want to take those letters that you have left, and you want to kind of turn them into some kind of a symbol. You want them to look like a symbol. So you're kind of thinking about, logos and what, logos look like and things like that. So you're trying to make yourself a symbol. And again, I would recommend that you spend a lot more time at it than I am, but I'm just going to kind of, throw something together here to kind of, give us an idea of what we're talking about. So you want to make yourself something that turns into a symbol. And this is really a poor one. I apologize for that, but this will give you an idea of what we're talking about. You just want to take it and make it into a symbol. So I've taken those letters that we originally had there, and I kind of, I turned them into a symbol. You can see my symbol here, and it's, I guess it looks kind of like a symbol. And like I said, if you give yourself more than 15 seconds to think about it, like I did, but you can see the letters are here, and this is the symbol that I created out of my letters. So you have the W here, and then of course you see the W here. I inverted the W, but there's your W. The L, I've got your L coming right down here, and then the S is turned on its side. So there's your S. Your G is rather apparent. I put it right there. Your H is right here, and the S is kind of forming the cross member of the H, and then the T is up here, topping off your L, if you will. So you've got a symbol there. You see how you've taken this is to your conscious mind, I will lose weight. And now you've reduced I will lose weight to a symbol that you can implant into your unconscious mind, because your unconscious mind deals more profoundly and talks and communicates more easily in symbols rather than language. So now you've got your symbol. And here's where we come to a little bit of a controversy in the world of sigil. Most people will tell you, take your sigil and put it away somewhere. Don't look at it. Don't think about it. Let it get out of your conscious mind. And, I don't do it that way. And I don't know why I don't do it that way. It's probably because I lost my pen cap. That's why I'm looking around if you're watching the video. But I never did it that way. I've always put it up in a prominent place within my dwelling so that I see the sigil. And when I see the sigil, I think that empowers my conscious mind and my subconscious mind simultaneously. That's my personal opinion. But there are a lot of people that are involved with sigils that say, no, put it out of sight, because then your conscious mind will forget about it. So you can kind of just hack it into your subconscious mind. But, they want you to perform rituals to focus your mind on that sigil. And some of them are, they're sexual rituals, things like that. I don't really want to get involved with that personally. So I'll take my sigil and I will put it up in a prominent place within my dwelling. So I look at it, I see it. Now I will let it, if I want something to happen, let's say it's an event. Let's say I want to get on this particular radio show, and that radio show is, a month or two out. I'll make my sigil. That's really not a terrible sigil the more I look at it. And I'll let that sigil, go. I'll put that sigil up on my board. I have a board that I have here in my office, and that sigil, the sigil should be there for, at least a couple weeks if you can. And of course, with us, I will lose weight. Having that sigil up there for, a couple of weeks is minimum for helping us. I will lose weight. I will lose weight. And it kind of it's giving you a reminder consciously, but it's also putting itself into your unconscious or your subconscious. And of course, the question is going to be, Jeff, how does this work? And well, to tell you the truth, I don't really know. I can't give you A plus B equals C as to why the sigil works. All I can tell you is that it does work. Now, it's not, I don't know if it has the power to work just on its own. All I know is that I have used it and incorporated it as a spiritual technology in some of my days where I have, maybe if you turn your sigil up that way, you might like it a little bit better that way. But see, a sigil, it's a symbol, so it can be turned any way. That's kind of neat looking there as well. But it has helped me. I think, it focuses your attention. It focuses your intention both, consciously, because that means I will lose weight. But then it speaks to your unconscious with a symbol. And folks, when you're able to invoke and empower both your conscious and your unconscious, when you're able to speak to each of them on a simultaneous basis, folks, it's powerful and it works. And I dare you to try it. And I guarantee you nothing bad's going to happen. But we'll wrap this up when we get back. Talking about Sygil Me This, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. We'll be right back on the Mutual Broadcast Network. Thank you, Cliff Desmond. And we are back for the Christian Whistleblower Show and for our last segment. So, we started out with I Will Lose Weight, and we ended up with this, our sigil. And what we've done is we have created a symbol that is still linked to the intention in our conscious mind, but it's also linked into our unconscious, and that it is communicating to our unconscious in symbolic forms, not directly suggesting its meaning or not using language. And that is the most powerful way many believers in chaos magic and many scientists and studiers of the human mind have found this to be true. And all I can say is it works. All I can say is it's helpful. All I can say is it is a kind of a back door into your unconscious. It's a way of helping you get out of your own way. Some people will tell you that after the thing has come to pass, go ahead and destroy your sigil. I actually still have the first sigil I ever used because it worked fantastically. So I kept it, and I keep it in my little, I don't know, I guess you'd call it a jewelry box, but it's a very manly jewelry box. It's a dude's jewelry box, with the leather on the top, and it's mahogany and all that stuff. So, I'm metrosexual, but I don't, don't wear earrings or anything like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I kept that sigil. I should have brought it out, and maybe I'll show it to you on tomorrow night's show. I'd run in there right now, but that would be kind of silly. But I do have the very first sigil that I ever made. I don't know why I didn't bring that out. That would be very interesting for you to take a look at. I'll show it to you tomorrow night. And it was tremendously effective, and it helped me accomplish the goal that I was looking to do. And a lot of people told me, man, you're crazy. That'll never happen. You can't do that. And, why are you trying to do that? It's just not something that's possible. But through the use of the sigil, and I'm not saying it was completely the sigil that did it, but it was, the sigil was helpful in helping me manifest and fulfill that goal. There's no doubt about it. The sigil was very, very helpful. And I think that if you'll use sigils, if you'll at least try sigils, I think that you will find it to be a very helpful and a very profound spiritual technology. And this is, one of the things that New Cosmic Knowledge is all about. This is one of the things that Create Yourself, which is the practical arm of New Cosmic Knowledge. New Cosmic Knowledge investigates, discovers, refines new spiritual technologies, or maybe we improve a few mouse traps like EFT. We certainly did not invent, but we are definitely incorporated that into New Cosmic Knowledge, or NCK, and it's being used into Create Yourself, which is a system and a methodology, really a suite of spiritual technologies that can help you improve your life. You can see all of those at jeffreydarty.com and christianwhistleblower.com. And I know that most of the time we spend our time, very much into the text of the Bible or into the text of other ancient teachings. And we're, very much into telling you what the teachings of Yeshua were. And we're very much into teaching you what the teachings of Yeshua were not. But sometimes it's very important for us to slow down a little bit and to do something that's very instructional and very much, maybe not as much yelling and screaming, maybe as not as much rants, but Sygil Me This. This is something that you can practically learn and practically put into use as soon as this show is over. You can decide what you want. You can, write it out on a piece of paper. You can remove all the vowels. You can remove all the repeating letters. And again, take your time when you make it into a symbol. I did this, without thought. And what, like 5 seconds. You want to give it more thought. Obviously, I've done this before, and I do have a little bit of artistic talent and flair. So, it was something that I was able to make look, pretty damn spiffy in no time. But you'll want to give it, and I would have, spent more time and more thought on it if it was something that was really that I was really going to work on. So, we're going to do some more shows like this that are practical, some more shows like this that are instructional, some more shows like this that will give you rubber meets the road type of spiritual technologies that you can employ in your life. It was a couple months ago we did the EFT show, which is, again, something very similar to this type of thing. So, we don't want to get ourselves painted into a corner. We don't want to get ourselves to a place where we think that we have to do certain things certain ways. That's the beauty of, being in this format. We can do what we want. We can do what we feel is important. We can do what we please. And, when we talk about things sometimes that are a little bit out of our comfort zone or out of our wheelhouse, like when we talked about the prophecy about Ted Cruz believing that he is the anointed prophet of God to be the president, of the United States. And we shared that, some weeks ago. And then the news came of Glenn Beck, saying that same kind of stuff. And then the news came of the breaking news of Ted Cruz's father, Rafael Cruz. And of course, Ted Cruz's name is Rafael Edward Cruz. The Ted comes from Edward. That came that he said, my son is an anointed king to lead the final, dominion theology and take over the country and the world. And, we talked about him being the chosen of the Lord, the anointed of the Lord, and believing that to be true, because, of course, the Lord is a bad guy and the Lord is trying to create a final false flag. And what better way for the Lord to be able to complete his work than to have a guy in the White House, leader of the free world, that is complicit and compliant to the ways of the Lord. And, I was a delegate at the Republican National Convention back when Pat Buchanan ran against, this was 92, back when Pat Buchanan ran for the first time for the Republican nomination. I worked for Pat Buchanan, so I've been around politics for quite a long time, and I was very much into it, very much a politico, very much someone that's really, really into politics. But, I'm not into that anymore. But I said all that to say this, because, we just seen 2 states dispose with a popular vote. And we've seen 2 states, the Republican Party of 2 states, just say, we're going to pick this person. We're not going to allow people to vote. I don't know that that's ever happened before. And to me, it's almost miraculous that would happen. And it's almost miraculous in a malevolent way of the Lord pulling out all the stops to try to get his man into the White House. It doesn't look like it's going to work. I'd like to think that we had something to do with that, if not, practically by people hearing it, but at least by putting it out into the ether and putting out the intention. But the work is not finished yet. If you're in Indiana, you can still be a part of practically helping it. Some of the other states, I'll let you know. But we're doing things that matter. We're doing things that make a difference. We're doing things that make a difference in your day-to-day life. And we're doing things that make a difference nationally and internationally. And if I do wind up going on this national program and doing a live exorcism in this national TV network, wow. I mean, that may be another step for us as the Christian Whistleblower, the Mutual Broadcast Network, and New Cosmic Knowledge, moving up and moving on and beginning to really make a even more dramatic impact on this world. We can't do it without you. Don't want to do it without you. So let's stay in there. Let's keep swinging. Until tomorrow night, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, encouraging you to unindoctrinate yourself. Adios. Sorry for the coughing fit there at the end. Thank you for joining us on our video simulcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more of the Christian Whistleblower Show. And until then, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, encouraging you to unindoctrinate yourself. We'll see you again tomorrow night. Take care.